without further ado, excited to have everybody on. I'm Tony Cimino, your host, Director of Partnerships here at ROK Financial. My role is to basically help people like yourselves understand what we do so that you can take advantage of the platform that's been built by our team. Our CEO, James, founded us back in August of last year after having to pause and close his original business due to COVID. Luckily, enough, James was able to preserve some resources and spin back up ROK Financial, which, I'm lucky enough to be employed by, but as well as the rest of the team who's made it from his original venture here, and some of the newer employees that we're now working with. ROK Financial was built to help small businesses get access to financing through a simple process, right? And basically what that allows us to do is leverage the technology that's been put in place, the streamlined process to get these business owners from application to funding, right? A lot of times people talk about approvals and this and that. Approvals are great, but you want to actually get this business, the capital in the hands of these businesses quickly so that they can utilize it, right? We do that through the relationships that we've built, the ownership that we take, the knowledge that we have. We use the speed. We always point out the opportunity, right? Because if the opportunity doesn't outweigh the cost in alternative finance, it doesn't actually make sense to take on some financing all the time, right? So we want to have a great understanding of the opportunity. There's a ton of leadership. We're very impactful and a determined bunch for sure. I'm determined to get through this, but like I said, this is going to be more insight about the products themselves than anything. Happy to have you guys on. Hopefully you have some questions queued up. I actually have some questions in here that I'm going to answer that may be some of the tougher ones that you want to ask. So I'm going to address those, right? But just, going back over our financing programs, the working capital loan, it's there. It's very flexible, right? I started talking about its flexibility. I can't stress that enough. Businesses, like I was saying, have unique needs in the day to day. A lot of them are dealing with challenges, like I was saying earlier. There's supply chain issues. There is manpower issues, right? They're trying to automate things and kind of move with the technology times, right? Technology is great till it isn't. But if you have all of this going on, how are you then playing CFO, right? And understanding, okay, how can I leverage financing to help me get there, right? We were talking about just loans in general the other day and how they're such a benefit. Even to a consumer, they can be a major benefit, right? There's tax advantages to these programs. But when you're talking about working capital, it's the ability to be flexible, right? There is no minimum credit score in this program. So that's a major benefit. A lot of financing is going to require a 700 plus credit. You go to a bank right now and try to apply for a business loan with credit lower than 700, they're going to tell you that they can't help you. Even the SBA has changed up some of their requirements and some of their back end with the banks that they work with, and because of that, they're seeing lower approval ratings. So the flexibility in the working capital may be one of those situations where, hey, I'm able to actually access this when I can't really access much else. You may have a small tax lien in the business. You may have, a judgment that you're trying to pay off from the past, right? A lot of these business owners, they leverage personal credit. They leverage personal financing to build their businesses. But this product is super flexible. Jumping over into equipment financing quickly, I'm just going to kind of roll through these and answer questions in particular, at the end. But in terms of equipment financing, that's exactly what it is. Businesses every single day utilize equipment, right? And a lot of that equipment can be purchased on equipment financing. Now you may ask, why would I use an equipment financing program versus like a loan or a line of credit to buy my equipment? Well, a lot of times because it's equipment financing, it is essentially tied to an asset, right? That equipment becomes an asset in the business. So because of that, you can you can potentially access longer terms. You may actually qualify for more money on an equipment finance than you may on some of these other products, right? Especially a line of credit, which can sometimes be conservative. So, there's a lot of benefit to accessing equipment financing. One of the best benefits right now to purchasing equipment may be some tax liability that a business has. If a business owner has, been profitable this year and been able to take advantage of, some opportunity, well, how are they mitigating their tax exposure? One way can be to take out equipment financing and go purchase a piece of equipment for your business, right? It updates the business. It may help you improve your systems and your processes. But one of the major benefits is, Section 179 of the tax code. So, we always point the business owners to those who prepare their taxes and ask them about the 179 benefit and how they can apply it to their business specifically. But, you can be a pizza place purchasing, a pizza oven or a delivery truck, right? You can be a truck driver purchasing a truck or a trailer. You can be in construction and purchasing heavy construction equipment. You could be a dentist or a doctor and purchasing medical equipment. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Even some of the, more unique industries like the CBD, hemp and cannabis industry have some options in equipment financing. So, that is also a pretty flexible product, but you may be able to access better terms and rates for your business in terms of an equipment finance if you're looking to purchase equipment specifically. And then just continuing through the suite of products. These two products here are very similar, and that's why we put them on the same slide. Accounts receivable financing can act like a line of credit, right? And then you see our business line of credit here. This is an unsecured business line of credit, so it's not tied to any asset in the business. Accounts receivable financing is tied to just that. It's tied to the accounts receivable. So there's factoring, there's accounts receivable lines that are available. And what's great about all of the products in our suite is there's flexibility in all of the requirements. So we work with some very, traditional style programs at the top tiers of these waterfalls in all of these products. And then we work with some lenders who are more flexible and maybe have niche programs available for certain industries because they like certain industries. One of the unique things about ROK Financial's accounts receivable financing is the ability to get unique deals done. One of the biggest things you'll hear from somebody who's talking about factoring or AR financing is, hey, we don't do any progress billing, or we don't work with any of the insurance companies for doctors and dentists. Well, ROK Financial has products in both of those arenas. Those are some of our best industries, are construction and medical. And because of that, we have very strong relationships that if you are a doctor who is getting paid by the insurance companies, you can leverage those receivables, which may take some time to get paid to you, to access financing right now. We're not showing the full screen. Does that help? I'm not going to be able to see this thing if we go any smaller. We're really batting 1,000 right now, guys. I want to get the logo in there. Did we get that in there? Branding, marketing would be proud. So AR financing, think of the accounts receivable, right? A business owner, this is strictly for B2B businesses. If you are going into the pizza place and you want a pizza, you're going to pay for that pizza when you receive it, right? As soon as they hand it over the counter, you're handing them over some form of tender, whether that's your credit card, cash, however, it may be Bitcoin one of these days, who knows? But you're going to pay for that right then and there on the spot. Businesses, though, in the B2B world, a lot of times they're going to turn around and use the service or good that they have on hand, right? So just think about like a staffing industry, staffing company, or a technology company, right? If they are doing, they're working with businesses to, build out their CRMs, right? If they sell CRM systems, right? And that's a long process. You build out this SaaS software. You are going to have to implement, and there's going to be an invoice that's issued. They're going to have terms on paying this invoice, right? They may be 30, 60, or 90-day terms. Well, in that time, how do you alleviate cash flow issues when technically that's just money out on the street if you're a business owner, right? You have this business you've already done. These people already have your product or your good or your service has been performed. How do you then get paid? Well, one way is to factor or get an accounts receivable line that will pay you right now on that invoice and leverage them being paid off on the back end. There's, rates that are associated that, again, they're going to be super flexible. They're going to be, if you have a great client that's going to qualify from a bank, this is an asset-based financing. So it's very, cost effective program if they do want to leverage these, these invoices. So, there's a lot of, perks to the product. But one of the best is that you don't actually have to wait for your money, right? So it can really help those businesses that are in growth mode that need access to that capital to keep growing. And that takes me into our unsecured line of credit, right? What you should know about a line of credit is it's only a line of credit is if you get access to an amount of funding, let's call it $100,000. And as you draw on the money and pay it back, that money becomes available on the line again to you, right? So that's our business line of credit, our unsecured business line of credit in a nutshell. You get access to continuous capital as you need it, right? These terms are going to be based on how long you use the money, right? So the longer you hold the money out on the line, the more it's going to cost you. But if you're one of those businesses who just is looking to, get another project started or kind of float between jobs or get, hire a couple of employees and have some access to some extra cash for that payroll as that employee's work starts to create revenue in the business, and you want to be able to have access to something that can alleviate these things. That's where a line of credit is phenomenal, right? You can use it to purchase inventory and hold as long as that inventory is being sold. There's countless reasons, right? But what's great about a business line of credit is it is available to businesses that are B2B or B2C. So if you're a restaurant owner, if you're a retail shop, if you are direct to consumer, you can access a line of credit as well. This would just be unsecured. It wouldn't be based on anything other than the cash flow and the revenue in the business. To just touch on a couple of more programs here, I think we're pretty much almost getting through these. It's the suite of products. What I want to touch on before we go any further and just take a step back here, what you should know about working with ROK Financial is when we look at a client and their opportunity, we're not going to discount anything until it's been discounted. And what I mean by that is a lot of times what we find is a business owner may apply saying, hey, I need a line of credit, but maybe it's equipment financing or franchise financing or a term loan that's actually the best benefit to these businesses. So with that, keeping that in mind, we always look at all of the products that may service a business's particular needs. But as far as our asset-based loans, this is utilizing real estate that a business owner may have access to potentially get access to higher dollar amounts, maybe longer terms, receive better, or more flexible financing options. If a business is only able to qualify for $50,000 by, collateralizing some real estate, they may be able to get access to $100,000 or even $150,000 because they have equity in the real estate, right? So just keep in mind this. Our asset-based loans, our real estate financing is loans that are for a business, right? So, a lot of times people ask us about, investment properties. We do have some one-off, relationships in there. So always worth asking a question. But, if you're talking about our asset-based loan program, what you should know, it's for business owners who own real estate that are looking for access to either better or more flexible terms for their business, right? So there's a lot of different uses for the funds. You can consolidate debt, you can purchase inventory, you can purchase other real estate, you can buy out a partner, right? Hire employees. All of these uses are all good in terms of the asset-based program. Just jumping over into franchise financing, what you should know about our franchise financing program is a lot of banks and lenders, they do have approved franchise lists, right? The SBA has an approved franchise list, right? So with that being said, a lot of these franchisees have availability in the equipment finance world, in the working capital sector, in the line of credit world, in the SBA world, where they can get more advantageous terms and more favorable terms and qualify for different things simply because so many people have done this before with an approved franchise, right? So a lot of lenders or banks, they become a little bit more flexible when you're on the approved franchise list. So if you have clients that are looking for expansion to update, mandated things that are coming down from their franchisor, really quick story, we've actually helped a large pizza franchise help their franchisees update their POS systems. They had a major franchisee that owned over 150 locations. They updated their POS system. They saw a major shift in ordering, in retention, all sorts of different categories that led the franchisor to actually say, hey, everybody has to implement this change. And not everybody had the cash on hand to do so. And they had a couple of banking relationships in the franchise that weren't able to deliver. We were able to deliver not pizza, but financing to them and meet the needs of over 30 different franchisees in getting them the access to the capital they needed to make a mandated change in their business, right? So a lot of times there is, flexibility available here as well. So anytime you have a franchise that's looking for financing to grow or take advantage of an opportunity or make an update that's mandated, definitely give us a call and think of ROK Financial. And then, just to kind of wrap up some of the financing that we do, we are working with a bunch of different SBA banks, non-bank and bank SBA lenders, right? So what that means is there's a lot of, banks who offer SBA loans. And how do they do that? And what does that mean? Just to give you some insight into the SBA is a government guaranteed loan. There's a certain percentage of the loan that the government guarantees. So that mitigates the risk for the lender, right? What you should know about any lender or anybody who lends money, the first thing that they're looking to do is mitigate risk. So if banks can do deals through the SBA, that's great. But a lot of banks have a lot of restrictions that they put in place, right? And if you don't meet a bank's qualifications, that bank isn't going to give you an SBA loan, even though you meet SBA qualifications. So that's where the non-bank SBA lenders come in, is they can be a little bit more flexible, right? We do primarily SBA 7A loans. We're very, very focused and very good at the SBA 7A Express. That program caps at 10 years. It's up to $350,000. And we've done those in as little as like 14 to 20 days. If you know anything about working with the government, it's just as finicky as working with technology is sometimes. No, anytime you're working with the government and banks, they're not as fast moving as some of the fintech lenders that are out there, and some of the people who'd like these banks to move more quickly, right? So you have the SBA 7A Express for those who are only looking for up to $350,000. But if you're looking for greater than that, we do 7A loans all the way up to $5 million. They're used for business acquisition, partner buyouts, working capital, debt consolidation. There's lots of different reasons that you would go for an SBA loan, but one of the major reasons is the benefits of the terms, right? In terms of alternative finance, there really isn't many programs out there that can compete with the SBA in terms of the cost of capital, in terms of the term, right? So if you have a very long term on a business loan, what does that mean? Well, that means that you have a very low payment, by having a low payment, that can keep cash flow in the business, right? That can be a major benefit. The one thing about the SBA is they do have a per guarantor criteria where you can only take out up to $5 million. So if that's the case, right, and you take out an SBA loan and it's a few $1,000,000 and you purchase a building and now you have to buy out a partner, that you may not have all the liquidity available, right? Some of these other products are more flexible. The other thing is a lot of times they want to see you have an SBA loan for a couple of years plus before they will look at giving you another one, especially depending on who you get it through. So there's some restriction in there, and that's why the shorter term products are available for those that not only aren't SBA eligible, but also those who can't wait for the process of some of these longer products, or those who need access to capital more frequently and more flexibly in their business. So that's kind of the suite of products. I want to jump into some questions that we get asked a lot in terms of the partners that we work with. One of the top questions is always, and I'm sure this one has probably been blowing up the chat, what's the rate, right? Well, our rates are flexible. Like I was saying, the SBA right now is about 6%. It's 2.75 above prime, which is 3.25% right now. So you have the SBA, which is one of the best cost capitals. But then you have a line of credit, right? And if, like I was telling you guys before about a line of credit, you only pay on that as long as you use it. So if you were to take out, $50,000 on that $100,000 line of credit I was talking about before, and let's say in 3 weeks from now, one of your vendors pays, or one of your clients, clears a major check and pays off their balance with you, you can pay back that line of credit, and that cost of capital is going to be cheaper than an SBA loan, especially one that's going to amortize year after year over 10 and 25 years, right? So, a lot of times the rate is a question that is reactive from a lot of people because they're not used to dealing with somebody as transparent as ROK Financial. The rates are going to be determined by what the business qualifies for. Sometimes they even qualify for what's called a factor rate or simple interest, where it's just a cost of capital, right? So if you borrow $100, you may have to pay back $125 or $130, right? And that's kind of the cost of capital, right? So that's a simple interest. It doesn't actually compound. Whereas the SBA, that 6% is going to compound year after year after year after year, adding up to be a much larger actual cost, of capital. So, the best thing that I can tell you about our process is it is going to be super informative and super fast. So leading into that next question of how fast can you fund, I've seen businesses apply at 11 a.m. and have their businesses checked out before 5 p.m. Because they had deadlines they had to make. And that's not something that I've only seen on a one-off. I've seen it happen continually. And how they do that is they're a very bought-in buyer. They're very engaged in terms of being able to provide underwriting what they need to grow their business. So they are able to get through the process very quickly. But I always like to say it's about 12 to 24 hours for an initial approval, anywhere from like 2 to 5 days for funding on most of these products. Anything longer than that, any other type of financing, it's probably going to be backed by an asset, right? Where there may be titles that have to be searched, or appraisals that have to take place, or additional research that has to take place prior to funding. So a lot of our products, if they were to go longer than like 2 to 5 business days from approval to funding, we would always inform you and your clients of, hey, this is what that process looks like. Because if there's not if there's a much more urgent need, we obviously can move much faster with some of these other products on the platform. So the rate, again, is going to be variable. It's going to go across all the different products. They're going to vary. There's very cheap costs of capital in working capital and equipment finance in AR. And yes, there are some more expensive programs for those who are in a more risky situation. If you're very close to being a brand new business, right? You've been in business 3 or 6 or 9 months, right? If you're not making much money, or you don't keep much money, those are very risky businesses, right? If you don't have much cash flow in the business, how does a lender feel comfortable, with you making a payment, or a bank feel comfortable with you making a payment? That could be a less dollar amount, right? It could be a shorter term. And that's because those are Those are more high risk, more high risk deals. And then what's my commission? Commission structure for us, and I'm going to dive into our partnership program much more deeply after this, but our partners are paid on a revenue share model, right? So what that means is there's a revenue share that we're earning. We earn the revenue on these deals, right? This is an industry that is profitable. And in that revenue, you share in a portion of that revenue. So whatever that top line number is, whether the bank paid us a fee directly, there was a fee to the business owner, or there's like kind of a mixture between the percentage that's paid on the loan and a fee. No matter what that is, right? You get access to a revenue share model that allows you to tap into an additional revenue stream in the business. And then, like I said, just to touch on some of the benefits of working with ROK Financial, right? Well, it's the access to all the different lenders, right? Under one roof, where we maintain those relationships with these lenders and we drive a ton of traffic in their directions. So the information that I just gave you on all of these products, the insight that we provide on a deal by deal basis, this is based on the thousands of applications that we submit a month to these lenders and these banks on behalf of business owners, right? So we have a ton of data, a ton of insight, and a ton of buying power with these lenders to be able to get these business owners what they need. Very quick application, digitalized application for business owners. You get a team internally to work with so that you have a manager in terms of your account with us, but you also have somebody to help you close your loans, right? A business finance advisor who their job is to close loans for ROK Financial. So they can help you navigate the closing processes of all these different products, so that you don't have to become familiar with all the different closing processes and how they change and keep up with all these updates. No, we do that for you. There's somebody there to help you and your clients get through that process, right? We have a ton of technology that's built out. I'm going to show you some screenshots of our portal here in a second. And that's all backed by the experience and knowledge that we have. We have a ton of feedback from our partners that we utilize and then come back to the drawing board and implement, so that that our clients and your clients are getting the best in class service. And you can go take a look at Trustpilot, Google, Best Company. We have nearly 1,000 reviews across the internet. Like I told you guys earlier, we've only been around since August of 2020. So that's a lot of people having a lot to say in a little amount of time. And that's in an industry that's not typically reviewed like this. Go pull up JP Morgan Chase's reviews. Financial services is a tough gig, but people take the time to review ROK Financial because they enjoy the process in working with us. They take time to understand what we actually have going on, so that they can leverage it for the opportunities that they see, right? So how do you refer us a client? It's very simple. All you really need to send to us is a name and a number, and we can take it from there. If you work with this business owner, you're a CPA, you are a loan broker, you have some documentation, great, submit that as well. We'll utilize that to speed up the process for that business owner. But we can handle the entire transaction from open to close for you, and have all of the knowledge and processes in place to do so. So you have the process, you have the perks, right? I was talking about before. You have, the revenue share, but we also have the relationships, right? So you get paid an aggressive commission. You have access to all of these relationships, right? Where we're incentivized to drive business into our lenders and banks' directions by, bonuses and tier platforms. And you get to, piggyback on all of this stuff by working with ROK Financial. One of the major benefits to our program is the override program. And what that means is, you can, if you work with others, right, CPAs, attorneys, bankers, other loan brokers who you think would benefit from a relationship with ROK Financial, you make an intro. Any deals that they fund, we pay you an override on in the same revenue share style that we would pay you a direct commission for a direct business referral. One of the best kept secrets, but also a major benefit is the investment opportunity. If you aren't working with ROK Financial and you don't know about these things, reach out to us on social media at rock.biz. You can, DM us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, any of the social profiles to learn more about all of this, earning potential and the products, and get more insight and, get more in depth. But, just know that there is more than enough opportunity at the plate, and we're real people, right? I always like to shout out the team, but I don't want to leave anybody, anybody out here. So our marketing team, which, is full of a bunch of amazing individuals, was kind enough to put this slide together. And this is the partnerships team. This is who you work with, on a day-to-day. Myself, Patrick, the CRO, very involved in the partnerships. This is how we do a bulk of our business, is through partners like you guys, and the wonderful partnerships team like Andrew, who I have to my left that you guys can't see, but also the rest of the guys on the team as well, who help our partners every day leverage this platform that's been built for them, right? And just to kind of jump into some of the technology, we do have a very interactive partner portal. If you're one of our partners, you know that this portal has seen numerous updates. It hasn't looked the same, I don't think, any 48 hours in a row now, but it has come a long way and is going to continue to be innovated. But there's a ton of insight that comes with this, with this portal. You can track all of your commissions, right? And all the historical, all your historic submissions, and what happened with those and where they are in the process. You can also manage your active pipeline or upload, deal notes or files on the notes. You can access marketing materials, where you have your own personalized landing page. There's customized collateral in there. There's social media content, should you want to share social media content, right? Just different tools to give our partners to go out there and be successful. In terms of our partners, they're a big part of these reviews that we receive. And if somebody who's in the industry, or somebody who is, in an industry that works alongside business owners, takes some time out to review us, we take that very, very serious. You see they're dropping names of the representatives in here. You see how much they're willing to go out of their way, and give their feedback on ROK Financial. And then just to touch on some success stories here, right? Very quickly, these are from the month of September. So shout out to those who, were able to help these small businesses. But these are a few deals that we just wanted to highlight that, it shows the aggressive commission amounts. It shows, the flexibility and the terms and the industries that we work with. You can see we're all over the map here in terms of New Jersey, Georgia, California. These are all states that you guys saw people, talking about in the chat. So, in terms of the successes, they're plentiful. There's a ton of opportunity for these businesses. They're using the funds for all different things that they have going on. So, that's the best thing that you can do, is come to us and say, hey, I have this situation going on. How do we help? How do I use ROK Financial to get from, like I said, application to actually getting the businesses funded? So I do want to jump into a Q&A session, but before we do so, if you are looking to reach out to us, you can always shoot us an email at partners@rok.biz. If you aren't a partner yet, go on over to rok.biz/partners and become a partner now. There's no reason to not utilize the program. A lot of people, there are other lenders, they have programs, but a lot of them they charge. A lot of them they have minimums. A lot of them they don't provide, a representative that you can call at day and night. We give you 2 of those, so that the partner support is at an all-time high. I would put us up against anybody's program that's out there. Definitely appreciate everybody for joining. Thanks again for hanging out with Andrew, myself, and like I said, if you haven't become a partner yet, please reach out to us now. We're more than excited to work with you. And if I didn't get your questions, like Andrew just dropped in the chat, please call in and ask. I'm only one person, and there was over 250 of you guys at one point. So definitely, again, shout out to you guys. Thanks so much for joining, and hopefully we see you on the next webinar.